And it's just one of those things, you know, sometimes I'm more emotional than other times.
Kids with the orange beanie. Okay, well, I could just also put her on AOSC.
Good morning. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Welcome back here. My name is Janice if you're new, and today we are having a kitchen day. So today I wanted to share kind of a homemaking reset, a homemaker meal planning, a homemaker cook from scratch food prep, all the things, because when you cook from scratch, you have to be ahead of the game. You have to be prepared for things to run smoothly, for you to have food that you need for the week. I have a lot of bread going. Today, Nathan's off. I really want to get a lot of bread things going. And today will be just a better day for, you know, as he to still have a parent that is hands-on while I kind of just take care of the kitchen stuff. So starting off, we have to rewind. We have to go back to yesterday. Saturday morning is when I started this whole process, and that involves me waking up at 5:30 a.m. and first feeding my starter. Do you have to wake up at 5:30 a.m.? Absolutely not. I am a morning person, so it's easier for me to wake up early and get my starter prepped. That way, instead of doing it at night to have it ready in the morning, I just will not do anything at night. But I get up early, get my starter going, especially when it's strong and very active. It'll be rising within a few hours, and then I can use it. So if I get up early enough, then by the time it's a reasonable part of the morning, I can start prepping my dough, which is what I did this day. So later in the afternoon, I got started on my sourdough loaves. So the first process of sourdough is Autoleasing. So I like to get my dough Autoleasing before I add my starter, and that is what I'm doing here, just getting all my ingredients together, letting that sit for an hour so that I can then pour in my active sourdough starter. And so here I'm just gonna cover it and let it do its thing, do my stretch and folds throughout the day so that it's ready for Sunday. Here we are to the present day, Sunday, when we're actually getting all of our baking done. I had already shaped my loaves, and so now I'm just baking them off. I'm doing my scoring and all that good stuff. Okay guys, so one of the exciting things about today is this package, and it just got here right on time. And I was nervous that I was gonna get here later. It's from Amazon. But I talked about
a toast maker looks like a toast.
I talked about the fact that I was gonna get a bread machine because now bread making is more than just a hobby. And I finally ordered it. It's here today, and I'm gonna put it to use today, and I'm so excited.
I used to think I'm the problem, that I was way too sensitive, reacting way too much.
Now I'm just getting started on my quick sourdough sandwich loaves. This, I call it quick when I also do starter as well as yeast, just so that I don't have to wait until the next day to get it baked off. So here I'm just adding my water, adding my active sourdough starter, and then it's also going to require yeast and honey and salt and a little bit of milk and some softened butter. And it comes out so good. I really love making homemade sandwich bread, and now that I have this bread machine, it makes the process so much easier. I'm loving it. While my sandwich bread is doing its thing, it's gonna have to proof for a few hours. I am just getting started on these sourdough whole wheat blueberry muffins. These are really good. They're really quick to make. I love using these for a snack for Ezzy, just something she can grab, whether it's in the morning for a pre-breakfast or if it's in the middle of the day for a more filling snack. It just requires about 2 cups of whole wheat flour. I use this Sprouted by the brand 1 Degree. Love it. You guys hear me talk about it all the time. Add about 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1/4 a teaspoon of baking soda. We add in about 1/4 cup of melted coconut oil. I do honey and a little bit of coconut sugar for the sweetener. And then I add in some frozen blueberries, and it's just more cost efficient and cost effective using frozen blueberries opposed to fresh, but you can use either one. And we just put those in these muffin tins and we bake them off, and they come out great. I usually put them in the refrigerator for a few days and then put them in the freezer just so that they last a bit longer. But they're a great snack to have on hand, just to hand to your kids. Now that those muffins are in the oven, I am now getting started on my sourdough bagels. I did this last just because this is something that I'm going to keep in the bread machine until tomorrow because it requires the 24-hour proofing time. So with this, it's kind of the same ingredients. I use honey. I also like to do half and half, all-purpose flour and bread flour when I'm running low on bread flour. That's just like my little hack because I always have all-purpose flour, so I'd rather use more of that. But this is just a completely sourdough recipe, no yeast needed, and it comes together really, really nicely. I make about 6 bagels with this. I want to get back in the habit of doubling the recipe just because they're so good, so we go through them really quickly. But here I am just taking out that dough and I'm putting that in the bowl so that it can rise and do its thing. This is actually my sandwich loaf dough. This isn't the bagel dough. So I'm just getting that put into a bowl so that has its time to proof for a few hours before I shape them and put them in the loaf pans. We are now halfway through. It's been a lot of just a little bit different because obviously there was a little bit of a learning curve with the bread machine and the bread maker, finding out how it works, the compartments and the buttons and how to work the buttons and all that kind of stuff. But I finally figured it out. So we have some sandwich bread dough proofing. We have some sourdough bagels dough proofing as well, but that won't be baked off until tomorrow. So I'll show you guys that. I don't know if I mentioned that this would be 2 days, but this will be today and tomorrow just because I prepped sourdough yesterday, but I didn't prep like my other sourdough breads. So I'm doing that prep today. I think my muffins are done. They smell amazing. These are the sourdough blueberry muffins. So I kind of did more of a sourdough discard blueberry muffin and with whole wheat flour, and I used the Sprouted whole wheat flour, which I love. and we used honey for the sweetener. I did add a little bit of coconut sugar as well, and then I added a few other ingredients. So I have the recipe down below if you guys are interested in like a healthy blueberry muffin. So this isn't in the bread area, but this is something I also like to prep ahead, and this is usually me sprouting my rice and beans. If I don't go through the whole sprouting process, I at least like to have them soaking for 24 to 48 hours just so that they're more digestible and that they're better on our gut when we cook them off, and then they cook a lot faster as well. So I just put about a cup of brown rice, a cup of black beans, and I put those in some mason jars, fill them with water, and then I add a lid. Here are my bread loaves after they finish proofing, and now they're baked off and they look delicious, and Ezzy loves them. I actually have to keep her away from the bread. Hi guys, it is the next day, it is the next afternoon, and we're gonna just continue on with a few things. I have to still get to my bagel dough. It's huge. So I had it rising on the counter yesterday, and then like halfway through the day I put it in the fridge. And so we're gonna get ready to shape and form these and then let them sit for a little bit, 30 minutes to an hour. And then we're gonna go ahead and boil them and bake them off. And then I also was thinking of doing some brioche bread, and I was gonna do like a quick sourdough brioche bread. Anytime I do like a quick sourdough recipe, it's just basically also adding yeast into it just so that I don't have to wait the whole, overnight to start baking it. But I do let it sit for a few hours still just to help with that fermentation and get some of those benefits from the sourdough starter. So that is what I'm thinking of doing. I think that would be nice, even just to freeze until the weekend to make French toast for breakfast or something like that. That's really delicious. And I tend to do things like that where I just have things for later. We have a lot of bread going on right now. I have 2 sandwich loaves that we've already been eating on this morning as he wanted it for breakfast. And then we got into half of the sourdough loaf yesterday. I had some for breakfast yesterday. So, and this is what it's for, like just prepping homemade fresh breads that we can have throughout the week. And it just really makes things a lot easier. Let's start the bagels. So after doing my boiling of my bagels, the egg wash, I had those in the oven, and while those were in the oven, I got started on my brioche loaves. Hey Siri, set timer for 2 minutes. Quick brioche bread is now going. All it is some warm milk, yeast, about half a cup of active sourdough starter, 4.5 cups of flour, 4 tablespoons of butter, teaspoon of salt, 3 eggs, and about half a cup of sugar. So that's what we got mixing, and once that dough has formed, we're gonna let this proof it for a bit. All right guys, so a little bit of a tip. I have my egg wash. I always use like these little, okay? I always use these little containers that I have for egg wash, and that is why I think it's best to just make lots of breads at one time. For one, flour can get messy, right? And I'm not trying to clean up flour for weeks at a time. So getting as much bread as I can cooked at one time helps just to minimize the amount of cleaning I'm doing. And then with things like this, egg wash, where most of the time you end up just wasting an egg, because after you do the egg wash, I at least dump this. I know some people save it for like to make scrambled eggs or something, but like it's the middle of the day. I'm not about to make eggs. I'm not going to keep it in the fridge to make eggs tomorrow. That's just weird. So using this same egg wash for multiple bread products, just like you can probably hear in the background, the bread maker is going with my brioche dough in there. And that brioche dough is going to require an egg wash as well. So it's like best to just use the same thing, and we're minimizing the waste. And then we're also just being more efficient with time, having breads prepared, and minimal cleanup. So after letting the brioche dough rise, I then punched it down, cut it into 3 parts. Actually, if you see there, I had a lot of extra dough, so I decided to just make rolls as well. But after separating them into 3 equal pieces, I just kind of braided them and put them in the loaf pan, a buttered loaf pan. You can also just shape it into a loaf shape and put it in a loaf pan without the extraness of the braiding. I just wanted to try it out. But yeah, so I made these rolls, and that was kind of the sample we had with the extra rolls. After it was baked off, we ate a little piece of it, and Ezzy has been loving having it with her eggs in the morning, honestly. But it's nice just to have like these extra little pieces of bread that we can quickly pop in the oven to go alongside food. And we also had some alongside of the pasta that we ended up having the next day. So really good recipe, really enjoyed it, and it's very easy. So if you've never tried brioche, don't be intimidated, give it a try. Making bread can seem intimidating and it can seem time consuming. I think the best thing to do is to just prep ahead. Everything with cooking from scratch, with giving your family healthy food, always involves being prepared and kind of bulk cooking when you can. I think the convenience of having something you can easily pop in the oven, it does feel daunting at first. I've been doing it for years now, so I've gotten over the fact that I don't have anything you can just throw in the oven or in the microwave unless I have things prepped and in the freezer. And so once you're prepared, you can do it. Definitely try this out. Avoid buying bread from the store that has all the extra nonsense in it. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm gonna have recipes down below, and make sure to subscribe if you're new. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.